And the mayor warned Rabbi Casito of the imminent deportation of Larissa's Jews children, and despite having only a third-grade education, she earned a high school diploma. She worked as a seamstress, hairdresser, and a Greek and Spanish interpreter for the court system. She is a former Miss Senior America finalist and the current co-leader of the Melodians, an all-senior chorus which performs at venues across Queens.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. No, is it morning or is it still afternoon? What is it? I'm not sure if it's morning. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I want to thank the staff for bringing me here, and I thank you all for being here. The reason I am here to tell you what happened many, many years ago. When it first started, I was 10 years old. Like some of you are still 10. Who's 10? All of you are 10 years old. Remember me as a little girl like you are. I used to wear a uniform just like you, and I had the word H on the uniform, which stood for Hebrew, a Hebrew school. My father was a rabbi, and he was a teacher. I never learned how to speak Hebrew, unfortunately, but that's my choice. Anyway, the reason I'm here today to remind everyone, not only you, but everyone you know, to tell them that the Holocaust actually did happen. Some people denied that the Holocaust ever happened, and I tell them that's not so. It actually happened. I was there, and so were 67,000 people from Greece. By the way, remember, Greece is a very special country. I'm not going to talk about my country. I'm going to talk about what happened. The day the whole thing began, it was 1940, October 28, 1940. I was 10 years old, and it was a Monday morning. Did you not remember that so strictly? Not because my memory is still good. It was the day that we were supposed to go to school. And my mother woke us up and said to me and my sister and my brother, we don't have to go to school. And we all jumped from joy. Oh, wow, we don't have to go to school? That's wonderful. Why? They said, we can't explain to you why, but you'll know why. Within 24 hours, I was the oldest child in the family, and my father said to me, something is going on, and the war started. I said to him, what is the war started? What does that mean? He says, well, the Germans occupied Greece, and now we have war. And things are not going to be too pleasant. And I cried, and I said, what's going to happen to us, Daddy? He says, in Spanish. We spoke Spanish and we spoke Greek at home. He said to me, listen to the word. God is merciful. He will save us. And that word came to us every single day for 5 years. God is merciful. He used the word, the Spanish word is Dios es piadoso. That carried us through. Who saved us? God was primarily the person who saved us, but also we have to remember the most important people, the people that helped us survive. They are called the Righteous Gentiles. I don't know if any of you are old enough to see the movie City Shelters. How many have ever heard and seen that? Someone say yes. This was a story that Mr. Spielberg made a movie out of it. He was one of the people that saved a lot of Jewish people from dying. Why? He needed the people to work for him, and he did whatever he could, and all those people were saved. Over 100,000 people he saved. I don't know how many, I'm sorry. But to come back to my life, the people that helped us, Dimbers, the most important person that I can think of right now that stands out in my mind and part of my life story is the mayor of the city. When the people were being deported from Salonika, the city that I was born in, My grandparents were all taken to Auschwitz. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins, everyone was taken to Auschwitz. And we feared that we're going to be next. We lived in a different town from Salonika, away from Salonika, but we knew that eventually they're going to get to us as well. It was March 1942, or 43, I don't remember, 43. And deportation was coming very, very rapidly. We were sitting at home wondering what's going to happen next, in fear of what will happen next, because we knew eventually we would be deported as well. Well, a young man came to our house and said to my father, Rabbi Kasuto, I'm here to bring you a message from the mayor of the city. He wants you to come to his office immediately. He has a very, very important message for you. And my father said, I'll be there as quickly as I can. He got dressed up to see the mayor, and he found out why the mayor called him. The mayor had gotten a notice the day before that the following day, or day after that, all the Jews from the town that I live in, which is Larissa, were being deported. The trains were ready to roll. My father was in shock, but he had enough courage to come home, tell my mother what was going to happen, and she said, we gotta go. We gotta go away as soon as possible. I have to stop for a minute, because right now, I'm right there. Because he was a rabbi, he decided to go to notify people of what's happening so they can all run away, disappear before they would be deported. He congregated a whole lot of, first of all, he went to different houses in the neighborhood and told them what was happening. Advised them to leave as soon as possible. Then he got a whole bunch of other people in the synagogue and told them exactly what was going to happen very, very shortly. As shortly as the next day. Because when the German gives an order, it follows right away. They don't wait forever. 940 people were taken. They left. They took his word for it, and then everybody got put together somehow, somewhere. Everybody left. We, the family, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, and I, and 83 other people, we gathered ourselves together in the corner of the street, and we ran away. Now, how do you run away? Where do you go? You have to know that you must leave, no matter what. You take as little as you can with you, and you say, my life is important, we have to go. So we start walking away from the city. We crossed in the river, which leads you out of the city. And we walked all night through. There were mountains on both sides of the road. And we didn't know which we were going to lead. Finally, we found a way to go up the mountain. On the mountain, we saw a little house below the mountain, down the valley. It was a little house. We didn't know who stayed there or how safe it would be. All of us went into that little house. It wasn't a house, it was a monastery. The monastery is occupied by nuns or monks. This time there were 5 monks there. And they saw us there and they said, go away, we don't want you here. The Germans are going to find you and they're going to kill us and you too. Well, what do you do then? You have a choice to go back home and be deported or stay there and make the best of it. Well, there's another wonderful, wonderful person that came to our lives then. When there's a war, there's an underground. The underground are the people who fight the war without being at war. They're called guerrillas or abductors. That's the Greek word. Abductors means people who fight the war without being in the army. And they came to our rescue. They asked the 5 monks to leave and leave us there. Otherwise, they would take them and kill them, and we'll have the place for ourselves. So they left, and we stayed. 18 months, all of us lived in one room, no bathrooms, no showers, no kitchen, no water, no food. What does one do? Every one of us had to find a way to survive. But finding food and shelter we had. One room was better than nothing, better than being in the Holocaust. We stayed there for 18 months. We were there approximately about 2 months when most of us got sick. We all had malaria. Every one of us was very, very sick. And who came to our rescue again? The abductors, the people who helped us again, the Righteous Gentiles. They brought us medicine and they brought us food as much as they could. My mother had to go and work in a different city nearby. She walked there every day and worked as a seamstress in order to bring food home for us to survive. My father and I used to go out to the fields and pick the weed from the ground, bring it home, bring it back, cook it with water, and eat it. But the will to live is very strong. And if you have the will to live, you will survive no matter what. And we did. 18 months, we were there. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, before we left home, my father went to the synagogue and picked up a little Sefer Torah. You all know what a Sefer Torah is, right? And those of you who don't know, tell the people who don't know what a Sefer Torah is. We carry them with us. They're a little small Sefer Torah. And we did the services for Friday night, the service for Shabbat, and all the holidays that came within the 18 months we were there. Life went on as best as we could, and then finally, we got the great news on June 15 of 1945. The city was liberated. The Germans left, and we had to return home. Do I have to tell you what it was like to come home? It was wonderful, but it was very sad. A lot of people did not come back. A lot of people were deported. A lot of people were killed during the time that we were away. We lost our home. Other people took our home and they didn't want to give it to us. But we fought for everything. And we got back. My father got a job back. And I started working as a seamstress, as a hairdresser. Then one day, we got a letter from America. My father had a sister who had come to America when she was 16 years old and married a very nice gentleman. He lived in Indianapolis, she lived in Cincinnati. And she wrote a letter to us to say, come to America. She was our sponsor. And we arrived in America, the family, in 1948, February 1st, 1948. And that's a new life began for me and my family. I have to stop for 5 minutes and catch my breath, and I'll tell you what happened when we came to America. Thank you so far. I'll be back. Thank you. Coming to America, what a wonderful sentence. Everyone looks forward to coming to America and begin a beautiful life, which is true. Unfortunately, when you come to America, you cannot speak English. You're a young person, doesn't know where to go, what to do, how to find a lifestyle of America. You have to adjust to the world of a new world. My sister and I, the first thing that we did, we were asked to go and get a card, a little card, a Social Security card. We got the Social Security card, and we came home, and they said to my father, "Look, Daddy, we are now American people, we are American citizens, we have a card that we can work in America and get rich." My father said, "This is not being a citizen, this is being a working permission so you can work here in America." So I didn't know how to speak English at all. How do you get a job when you can't speak the language? I was able to find a place to work as a seamstress at a department store. Little by little, I learned how to speak English. Within a year, I was able to converse in English fairly well. My goal was 5 different goals I had, and I achieved them all, maybe more. The first thing was, I had to learn how to speak English, read and write, because that's necessity. It's not luxury. If you don't know the language, you're a lost person. You don't belong here if you can't speak the word. I spoke 2 other languages, but they didn't work. Nobody knew how to speak Greek, and nobody spoke Spanish in Indianapolis, Indiana. Learning English was a very hard thing for me to do because I just couldn't understand what the teacher was saying because I did not understand the language. So I began to listen to the radio and read magazines and been able to understand what the teacher was teaching. And sure enough, I finally learned how to speak English. My next goal was to find a man and get married. The third one was to have children. The fourth was to have a house and a car and money. And I got it all. How did I get it all, everybody? What made me drive to the point that I want to get what I want to get? I want to accomplish what is called the American dream. What is that? Success. But success to me is not money. Success to me is what you do in your life for yourself and others. The more you do for others, the more you will get back, feedback. What would I gain by being here today? The pleasure of seeing you here, listening to me, and maybe learn something from what I'm saying to you. Have a goal in your life. Don't say, I don't know what I'm going to do the rest of my life. Remember what you want to do and aim for it. Succeed as much as you can. That's called success. Be happy. Happy with who you are. Happy with who you belong to, your parents, your relatives, your grands, your uncles, and everybody. I had none of them when I was growing up because they all died. Be very grateful that you are in America, that you have the freedom to do what you want. And remember, anti-Semitism is something that brought all the Jewish people to where we stand. Anti-Semitism is everywhere, even today. I'm not going to go into details about that. Don't hate other people because they're not like you and me. Befriend them and be nice to all of them. Don't hate, because hate is a horrible thing. It's a monster that eats you alive. The only person I hate the most in the world, which I'm sure a lot of people hate him, his name was Adolf Hitler. Everybody remembers that name? Who was Adolf Hitler? Who can raise their hand and tell me who was Adolf Hitler? Go ahead.
Adolf Hitler was the Nazi dictator.
He was the Nazi that did all the damage to the Jewish people. He was a horrible, horrible man. And let's hope there'll never be another Hitler. Never again. Remember that word, everybody. Never again. Do what you can to make your life as pleasant as possible and be alive and well and do whatever is more comfortable for you. You want to succeed in life? Find a way to say, I'm going to be somebody someday. And you will. I promise you, you will. Thank you so much for listening to me. I have to stop for another 5 minutes. If I have anybody that has any questions, please ask me any questions you want, and I hope I know how to answer them. Life is beautiful. Live it. Don't give up on life. I will tell you all 4 words that I learned years ago in the synagogue when my father was a rabbi. Don't die before you're dead. That means live. Live your life to the fullest, accomplish what you can, and love one another. Love is the greatest thing that can happen to the human race. Don't hate. Love instead. Thank you again. Any questions?
If you have a question, I want you to stand up and make sure that you project your.
Don't be shy. If you have a question, come forward and ask me whatever you want to ask me. Or I can tell you one 10-year-old asked me the last time I did something like this. He asked me, Mrs. Gordon, because of what happened to you and your family, did you lose faith in God? What do you think I said? No, I did not. I have more faith in God, and God today is taking care of me. I'm 92 years old, and I'm still existing, I'm still living, I'm still driving. I'm disabled, but not unable. Okay? Just because I'm disabled, that means I can't do a lot of things. I do a lot of things, and the fact that I'm still driving at my age, it's a blessing. And God is with me everywhere. And let me tell you something about that, specifically. God cannot be here to help me, but I got this person that helped me, that person that helped me up and down. That's not called malachim. Malachim is angels from God. God sends people down to help you in any way possible. I get out of my car and I wait 5 minutes. Somebody said, can I help you get the step? Go up the steps or do something. God is there with me. Protects me throughout the years that I'm here and the years that I lived in Greece. Baruch Hashem. That means, come closer. First of all, you got to tell me your name, and you're very brave to come up and talk to me. Take your mask off for a second.
My name is Leo Kessler.
What's your name?
My name is Leo Kessler.
And how old are you?
10. I'm 10 years old.
Okay, what is your question?
Were you ever in a concentration camp?
No. I was lucky I never went to concentration camp, because had I gone to concentration camp, I would not be alive at all. Because putting people in a cattle car, in a car for 3 days and 3 nights, all squashed in together, I don't think a 10-year-old could survive under that type of living in horrible, horrible circumstances. I never went to concentration camp. I'm very grateful for it. Thank you for coming and talking to me. Another brave one. closer. I can't. Give me your name first.
I'm Sarah.
You gotta speak louder. I'm hard of hearing.
I'm Sarah.
Okay. What is your question?
Were there any other kids that were hiding with you?
I'm sorry, I don't hear your question. What's her question? Well, no. You have to speak louder.
Were there any other children hiding with you?
Hiding with me? Yes, there were a lot of my schoolmates. Some of them older than me, some of them younger than me. And some of them, after the war was over, they went to Israel. I had a boyfriend who was 7 years old, and he and I were planning to get married. Unfortunately, he went to Israel, and I came to America. But I went back to Israel and visited him and his wife and the family and all the friends that I used to have in Greece. They were in Tel Aviv, and it was a beautiful, beautiful reunion at the time with all the children that survived while we were hiding.
I'm Sam Mitzner.
I can't hear you. You have to take your mask off to talk to me for a second.
I'm Sam Mitzner, and
I'm Sam Mitzner, and did anybody else that were hiding with you come with you to America?
What did she say?
Did anyone else hiding with you come with you to America?
The people that came to America, my parents, my brother, my sister, and I. I was 17, my sister was 16, my brother was 15. And we all survived, and we all success in America. First, give me your name.
My name is Sabrina.
Sabrina? Yes. I have a daughter named Rena. Go ahead.
Was your school big? Was your school big or small, and how many of your classmates or schoolmates were hiding with you?
Say that again.
Was your school big or small? And how
Wait a minute. Speak louder.
Was your school big or small? Your school.
Go ahead.
Was your school big or small?
My school was not big, but not very small. My school only had Jewish children, a public school for Jewish children only. My father was the rabbi, my father was the teacher, my father was a lawyer, one who circumcised his children. Well, by the way, I want to tell you something extra special. After the war was over, my father was invited to Salonika, the city that he and I were born, and he was asked to circumcise 45 children who were not circumcised. They were born during the war, and they were not circumcised. He circumcised 45 boys within a week in Salonika. And he got an award for that, a special award for that.
There's more to the question.
were any of your classmates with you during the war?
What? I don't get you.
How many? How many of your classmates were with you during the war?
I would say about, I have to think about, we were about 50. I would say about 20 classmates. We were all together hiding. We didn't have a good time, but we lived. We didn't have dances and we didn't have parties, but we're glad we were alive. And compared to others who did not. You're next.
You said in the building that you hid in where there were monks before you moved in there. Who threatened them to move out?
The answer to your question is the underground. The underground are the people who fight the war without being in the army. This is called the underground. People who are not being seen. They're hiding in different places. They're hiding under the mountains, they're hiding in different places, and then when there's time for them to come forward and help others, they help. You're welcome. Watch yourself.
My name is Yoni.
Yes, Joseph. Yeah, okay. What are you going to be when you grow up? You want to be a lawyer. At least you know what you want. Some people don't know what they want. I have other children who are 16 and 18 years old and still don't know what they want. But I knew what I wanted. By the way, I forgot to tell everybody what I want to be. When I was a little girl, I used to dress up and stand in front of the mirror, pretend I was a movie star. And then I was an opera star. And I became that. I was not a movie star, but I am an opera singer. Or I used to be an opera. I can't sing opera anymore. But I still sing. Yes?
Did you play any games while you were hiding?
Did I play what?
What entertained you while you were hiding?
While we were hiding, we were trying to amuse ourselves the best way we know how. There was no way of finding things to do other than talk to each other and play with each other and be friends. We were not allowed to fight with anybody because we were all enclosed in one room. And you can't fight with anybody when you're living in this close quarters. And we were all behaving well. At least I did anyway. Okay?
How old were you when you went to the U.S.?
How old was I then? 12 years old. Like you. Are you 12? Yes. How old are you? You 10? Okay. What are you going to be when you grow up? You're going to be a what? And movie director. Well, we all need people to do movies from everything, like Spielberg, right? You're going to be another Spielberg.
Yeah.
Why not? Anybody they want to be what they want to be, they can be.
When you came to America, did you come through Ellis Island?
Wait, I have an interpreter. She's going to talk to me.
When you came to America, did you come through Ellis Island?
No, I did not. We were fortunate we flew here. We came by plane and we ended up at the airport. And that's where we came. By end, spent a lot of money. We didn't have to go to Ellis Island. Okay? We were very fortunate. Okay? Come forward. I'm so happy so many boys come forward. Good looking one. Now, the first thing I have to know, now what your name is. What are you going to be when you grow up?
I guess a teacher.
You want to be a teacher? Everybody needs a teacher because they come in handy. They teach you how to live and they teach you a lot of things. So be a good teacher like your teacher. Your teacher's here today? Yes? Good. Got students like you. What's your question?
After you left, did the monks come back to the monastery?
No, they never came back to the monastery. At the time we were still there, they never showed up. They went to another monastery and they lived there, hopefully happy after. But we didn't care as long as they let us stay. Okay, here comes another lawyer coming through. Take your mask off so I can hear you.
Have you ever been to Israel?
Have I ever been to Greece ever since then?
Israel.
England? Oh yes, I've been to Israel 7 times, everybody. The first time I went there, I was 28 years old, and I met all my high school friends. We had a big party on my honor, and it was the greatest party I've ever had in my life. All the people that survived were there, and it was the greatest thing, including the guy that was supposed to marry someone else instead. But I went to Israel, and I wish I could go again. Come on forward. Who's next? Okay, now what are you going to be when you grow up? You still do, that's a 1 out of 10, not so bad. What do you really want? What do you really want to be? Pick something. You don't know, that's okay. Make up your mind tomorrow.
When you were in the monastery, were you able to still practice Judaism, or did you have to like fake being Christian?
When I was in the monastery, what's the question?
When you were in the monastery, were you able to continue practicing Judaism?
Partially yes and partially no. Because our aim at the time was to remember that life is important, do what you can. My father being still the rabbi and the teacher tried to put us together, the children, the young children, as much as he could, but most of us did not like school and did not want to be part of it. Like children, you know how it is. I don't have to tell you how we feel about other languages, especially Hebrew. But we survived. That's all the important thing is surviving. What's your name?
Paris.
Paris. Okay. Paris, like Paris from England? Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm very, very involved with the Holocaust people now. As a matter of fact, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be honored at a very special place in JCC in Rhode Island, somewhere in Roslyn, and they're doing a presentation of 5 others plus me, 4 others and me. A big thing is going on. I'm very, very involved in the Holocaust. I'm a speaker for the Holocaust survivors, for Holocaust survivors, for the public. This is why I'm here. Why are you here? Because you had to. Oh, okay. Are you glad you're here? Okay, what did you learn by being here? What did you learn by being here? What do you gain by being here? Good idea. Whatever you learn, everybody, make sure you share it with someone and use it to your benefit and others. Whatever you learn today, if you learn a little something, it's very important, no matter how little it is. I didn't understand your question.
Have you ever interacted with a Holocaust denier?
The Holocaust what?
Someone who denied the Holocaust.
When somebody tells me the Holocaust did not happen, what do you think I'm supposed to say? I can say some very nasty word, tell them to go to hell, or I can tell them you're a stupid idiot, or I can tell them go learn some history. You know what I tell them? Do you deny World War II? Everybody knows that World War II happened in 1940, 1945, even before that. And anyone that denies the Holocaust, that's a stupid person, I don't want to call them an idiot, okay? And they face, I like to tell them where to go, but I'm not going to tell you where. It's not heaven.
Have you been able to go back to Greece?
I went back to Greece several times. Every time I went to Israel, I stopped by Greece. And the last time I went to Greece, I was engaged to my second husband. I was 70 years old when I met my husband, my second husband, and we went to Greece on a pre-honeymoon. Before we got married, we went there on a reunion. There were 500 people that came to the town, and we had a wonderful, wonderful experience. I was the guest of the town, meaning because I was a very special person, represented my father. It was a wonderful experience that I had. I went back to Greece about 22 years ago. I got married 22 years ago when I was 74 years old. And I made my own dress. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you something. Being able to speak English got me a fantastic, fantastic job. You're not going to believe what I did for a living in America, other than being a seamstress and a hairdresser. I got a job in the Supreme Court of New York City as an interpreter. You know what it's like to get a job in the New York City courthouse? You have to be very, very good. And I was good, and I was hired, I was making $150 a day. And I worked for 20 years. So I made a lot of money. So remember, find a job that you love, because I love my job. I'm a talker. My mother said to me, get a job that you can talk. Okay? And I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I did well. Yes, come on forward. What's your name?
Aria,
Okay.
how difficult was it for you to find food when you were hiding?
Very, very difficult. Very limited. We had very little food, but we survived with very little. You never know how little you can use to support yourself. You don't have to have a whole lot of food as long as you have enough to eat for the day. And my mother brought us food. The main food was bread, cheese, which is feta cheese. Everybody heard of feta cheese? That's the Greek feta cheese. And olives and raisins and little sardines. Practically that's all we ate. And what are you going to be when you grow up?
Oh, I don't know.
You still don't know. That's okay.
Hi, my name is Bailey.
Before you went to the monastery, was your town a ghetto or was it just a regular town?
It was partially a ghetto, but I don't mean a ghetto that was locked up. We were not locked up. We lived in a certain area, like Borough Park in Brooklyn. You know, like all the Jewish people live there. Certain areas are specifically for the Jewish people.
Okay.
But we were allowed to go outside. We were not closed in.
Okay.
And I had a lot of non-Greek, non-Jewish friends at the time. You didn't tell me what you're going to be when you grow up. A bottle.
No, a senator.
And what?
A senator.
A senator? Wow! You're only graduated. You're only familiar. A senator becomes the president one day. Remember? Okay?
Maybe.
We need a woman president in this world.
Maybe.
Not maybe.
Yeah.
It looks-
I'll be the next president.
Whatever you do, enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Love yourself and do what you want.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mikey.
Good looking guy, everywhere.
So my question to you is how many children or grandchildren do you have today?
How many children I have today?
Yeah, and grandchildren.
And what's the next one besides how many children I have?
Grandchildren.
Oh yes, I have 3 children and 3 grandchildren. My children are very successful. One is a paralegal, one is a doctor, but not a full doctor, similar to a doctor. He's a diabetic nutritionist. And the other one is a teacher. And my grandchildren are also very beautiful and successful. My granddaughter is into movies. She does documentaries. My grandson is a scientist. And my little granddaughter, who's 20 years old, she's a hairdresser. And what are you going to be when you grow up?
A math professor.
And what?
A math professor.
Wonderful. We're going to have to cut down. Yes. Sorry. I need a drink. And that's what you have, the water.
Thank you, Ms. Gorin, for sharing your story with us. We are grateful to have borne witness to your experiences and hope that we can continue to tell it and do our part to fulfill Emil Fackenheim's word. Never to grant Hitler a posthumous victory. The Jewish people continue to be proud and strong and work for justice in our world. With that intention, I'd like to invite everyone else to rise and join us in singing Hatikvah as we recite the words of hope that continue to give us strength.
Everybody knows Hava Nagila? Everybody sing Hava Nagila with me. Nagila, 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 I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. I don't know what made you come here, but I'm glad you were all here. Have a good life and succeed in what you do.
Thank you so much. A very special thank you to Mrs. Stern for accompanying us this morning, and Ms. Gordon, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for singing for us and with us.
I chose part of the story to tell you, the better part of the story. I didn't tell you the horror of the years that was before the hiding. I didn't want you to know that. It's not necessarily the thing that happened prior to us leaving the city to hide. Bad things happen, but we all survive. That's the important thing. Survival is the main word that I keep going. Live as long as life, God gives you life. Baruch Hashem, I'm here.
Amen. Okay. Those of you who are in the middle and high school, you are going to fourth period, followed by lunch, and then 5, 7, and 8 after lunch. Okay? Those of you who are here from 5th grade, you have lunch now. Okay? So I'm gonna invite this half of the room. So for Ms. Goldberger over to go through those doors. And Remy, your room can go out that door.
Wait, yawning. Paris? Yeah.
Ready? Everyone smile. 1. Now when you go home,
Smile, smile.
You're so pretty. When you go home, what do you tell your mother? You felt something special today. And what you learned today, and carry it through. Remember who you are. Remember who you stand for.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So just cool. When I'm
Not you.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Fifth grade. We go on a trip A lot of these young people also. Yeah, to get it, yes. The big festival, that's true. I've been to that. I love it. It's beautiful. You go? Yes. So on your station, yes. So on May 19th, the fifth grade is going there on a trip to visit the synagogue. I will tell Margaret, Marshall and Colorado is in charge. Yes, yes. You know, I'm gonna tell them we met you. I'm very excited. It's wow. And I made the dress. Wow. Yeah, we see these dresses at the museum upstairs. Yeah, I made it. You made that? Oh my God. Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for coming today. It's my pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna slow down. Yes. You want to put the papers in? This is already in the internet. Oh. Okay. I already found you in the internet. I'm sure you did. Few movies of you.
Oh, that's such a lovely necklace.
I made that.
It's beautiful.
I wouldn't believe what it's from. Hanukkah time, I brought candies with this wrapper on the candy.
Really?
I ate the candy, I saved the wrapper, and I made this.
Beautiful.
I'm a great designer. I do a lot of designing, and I do a lot of things. I don't seem like a
You don't seem like that kind of person.
I get up and I go and I do. Off we go. Well, I'm going to this one. Let go of me. Let go of me. I'll hold this. But if you hold it, I'll lose control. So the experience.